Hello, algebra students. Today we're going to learn point-slope form, and we're going to quickly review that we know slope-intercept form. Remember, when slope-intercept form, we know the slope, and we know the y-intercept, and y must be alone in the equation. It looks like y equals mx plus b, right? So if we want a graph, we have a y, maybe we'll have a 2/3 here, an x, and a -5. Well, it's really easy to graph something like that, right? We would go down to -5 way down here, and then we would rise 1, 2, and run 1, 2, 3, right? And rise 1, 2, and run 1, 2, 3, and we'd get a line something like that. Okay, I'll draw my line in here. And even not on graph paper, it's still pretty good estimation if I use the right idea. Okay, let me make that a little bit thinner and put an arrowhead on there. Okay, now if I have standard form, remember standard form looks like this. We'll have ax plus by, and that'll equal c. And then we can find the intercepts, right? The x-intercept. By the way, this would be great things to make flashcards of. You know, I'm not going to require you to make flashcards. I expect you to be an independent learner and go, hey, I need to make flashcards of these things. Make flashcards. When in standard form, the x-intercept is c divided by a, right? The y-intercept is c divided by b, and the slope is the negative of a over b. Okay. Um, and of course, remember that a must be greater than 0. A must be positive for standard form. Okay, now we're going to learn a new form called point-slope form. Oh, well, let me do an example of how to graph. So if I had 3x minus 2y, and maybe that equals 12. Actually, I'm going to make it smaller. Let me make it equal 4. Okay, in a situation like that, I'm going to, ooh, that doesn't look very good. X-axis and y-axis, and I'm just doing little sketch graphs. Now, I'm not going to do the x-intercept. You can probably figure out why. 4 doesn't divide by 3 evenly. So I'm going to do the y-intercept. Did I say I'm not going to do the x-axis? I meant I'm not going to do the y-intercept. So when I do this, I'm going to do the y-intercept of c divided by b, which would be what, -2, 1, 2, like that. And I'm going to do my slope of negative a over b, so that'll be 3 over positive 2. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, something like that. And then of course my line would look like that. And look at that. Pretty close. Yeah, pretty close. All right, get an arrowhead on that end. And I'll make it smaller, thinner, so we can see it, see the points. Okay. Now with point-slope form, before I tell you what it is, I want to take this formula for slope. And the formula for slope is m equals y sub 1 minus y sub 2 over x sub 1 minus x sub 2. Now I'm going to change it. Instead of using 2 points, I'm going to let the first x and the first y be my um, variables. So I'm going to rewrite it as m equals y minus y sub 1 and x minus x sub 1. And I'm going to multiply to get rid of my fraction. Well, my denominator is x minus x sub 1, right? Put that over 1. And I'm going to multiply by x minus x sub 1 here. Now, these will cancel out, right? And so what I'll have is I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to put my y's on the left. I'll have y minus y sub 1, and that'll equal m times the quantity of x minus x sub 1. Why would I do this? Well, when we are in point slope form, we know the slope, it's right there. And we also know a point. We know the point with an x-coordinate of x1 and a y-coordinate of y1. And notice that the signs changed. Yeah, check this out here. The signs changed. This one is the negative of y sub 1, right? And this one here, well, I should say this one here is the negative of x sub 1. So when I'm in point slope form, I will have an equation that might look like this. Y minus 3 equals 1/2 x minus 2. Well, I know my slope is 1/2, and I know my point is the point 2, 3. Notice the signs change. And then I can graph this point and then rise and run from that point to get other points on the line. So let's see how it works. Let's first of all, problem number 1, is it in point slope form? Sure is. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity of x minus x sub 1. So my slope is 2/3, and the point that I know the coordinates of is 6, 5. So I'm going to plot the point 6, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. Right? And then I'm going to use a slope of 2/3 with that point. So I'm going to rise 2 and run 1, 2, 3. Okay, here I can go down 2 and left 1, 2, 3. And there's my line. And I'll draw it in. And here I can go 1, 2, 2, 3. So I got to go through that point right there. It's kind of hard to see the black on black stuff. So while I'm putting an arrowhead on there, I'll change the color. There we go. And there. All right, and there's my line. Okay, let's see how this one works. I'm in point slope form. My slope is 1/2. The point will be -4, -6. The signs change because in the formula I'm subtracting x and y. So minus a -4 is +4, isn't it? So I'm going to go to -4, -6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. There we go. And let me clone him. And my slope is 1/2, right? So I'll rise 1, run 2. From that second point, I'll rise 1, run 2. And that's pretty good. I mean, 3 points. You can make as many as you want to make your line as accurate as possible. But, 3 ought to do it. And put an arrowhead on. And there you go. Pretty simple stuff. So slide on down here. I'm in point slope form. And so I'm going to identify the slope. I'll do 4/1. The point will be -5, +2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Okay, my slope will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and right 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, and right 1. Okay, let's get my line going. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So, and there it is. Now the problem with point slope form, it doesn't clearly identify the y-intercept or the x-intercept, but sometimes it's not easy to know what the x-intercept or y-intercept are. So it's another way to do what we've already been doing. Okay, why don't you try this last one on your own? Pause the video. When you're ready, watch my solution. Okay, here comes my solution. My slope is going to be -4/1, and the point I'm talking about will be 3, -1. And so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then down 1. That's the first point I'm talking about. And I think my slope was -4/1, I believe. Let me just double check that. Yep, -4/1. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. Then I'll go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and back 1. And there you go. There's your line. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and back 1. And we will and there it is. That's it. All right, so we know three types of linear equations. We know slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. The y must be alone. We know the slope and we know the y-intercept. We know standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. A must be greater than 0, must be a positive, and sorry, had a mental lapse there for a second. And we can find the x-intercept by setting y equal to 0 and dividing c by a. The y-intercept would happen when x is equal to 0, and we'll divide c by b. The slope would be -a/b. All right, and then we just learned today point slope form, where we have y minus y sub 1 equals to the slope times the quantity x minus x sub 1. And in this case, we know the slope and we know a point x1, y1. And that's it. Pretty easy stuff. Now again, you could make flashcards of this stuff and what it tells us. All right, Mr. Lawrence signing off. Good night, everybody.